While they work on the slides, I want to thank Eza, front page, Mr. Fuad Makhzoumi for his sincere effort helping Lebanon, and Mr. Imad Makhzoumi, I'll do it in 20 minutes, or less. 12 minutes? Difficult. This is courtesy from my associates in Italy. His name is Anzo Zapatera. He is an AAPG emeritus, a geologist, international exploration geologist. It's a painting that was done 1500s. It's about the villagers offshore Sicily collecting oil, crude oil, off the shore of Sicily by sponges, and they use it for illumination. And that was 100 years before Christ. So let's not anyone claim his name to fame on oil and gas in the Mediterranean. This is quite run on the bullet points. We're looking at facts and moral issues, oil and gas science, economics 101, which is non-technical. The hydrocarbon potential onshore and offshore Lebanon vis-a-vis the regional production trend in Syria and Israel. Oil industry models, Norway versus Lebanon. Problems with Lebanon's petroleum law and the pending decree, amending the petroleum law and to establish the National Oil Company now, and the influence of foreign elements on Lebanon oil and gas in positive and negative ways. And we will look at the deepwater exploration outlook worldwide, which is coming in the next 3 years or so, and how the National Oil Company is a unique solution to Lebanon oil and gas. And finally, I have a sample of a real crude oil for the student to examine and smell the real crude oil from actual oil well. First and foremost, if you do not believe in God, I urge you to reconsider. A friend of mine who is an evolutionist, and he tried to convince me that there is no God and they believe in a Big Bang and we came from monkeys. And I congratulate him on his heritage, but I'm staying with God on this one. The definition of the truth or universal moral constitution. The truth is basically whatever corresponds to reality. The milk is white, samazara. Definition of an expert is that entity, an individual, or a company with the education, knowledge, and years of hands-on experience. If you do not have that hands-on experience, you are an intern, with all due respect to everyone. Of course, chapeau bas to the Petroleum Administration. They have come a long way since 2012. But still, there is a lot of changes that need to be done. Transparency is not a law. It is, and it cannot be taught. It is just a character. You're either an honest man or you're not. You just tell the facts. Let's not fall into the trap. I mean, even the horse would know if you force him to the spring, you cannot force him to drink water. Yet many Lebanese still drink the poison. I don't know why. Embracing the good and just get rid of the bad. I mean, our interest here is to serve Lebanon. And granted, we're all in for the money, we're all in to make a living. But let's do it within the interest of Lebanon. Let's not put us first and then Lebanon next. It's not about you and it's not about me. Despite of some country think, namely Norway and or its agent, I believe Lebanon has a decent institutional capacity. That means we've been accused of lack of expertise in the industry. Granted, but not all of us. There are a lot of Lebanese out there still working outside an industry that can help the country. All what we need to do is just have the right attitude toward the industry. But we need, it is my opinion, we need to gravitate to an industry suitable to Lebanon's political and cultural fabric. And we will see the model in a few minutes, the Norwegian model versus the Lebanese model, which is recommended by our company. A policy of inclusivity. You need to practice fairness and equality rather than exclusivity, which is based on selective breeding and greed. I mean, basically, have you not seen what happened in Libya? With all due respect to our Libyan guests today. At this time, in my opinion, we need to focus on the actual essentials. And the number one essential is the drill rather than the secondary, which are cosmetic in nature. The essentials is Lebanon's foundation, which is the oil ministry, national company, petroleum ministry, and the Lebanese armed forces for security reasons. The secondary issues are the sovereign funds, the Petroleum Supreme Council. So basically, what we need to do is we need to kill the bear before we skin it. I mean, what's happening today with us in Lebanon is we're trying to skin the bear before we kill it. And it's biting us, excuse my French, you know. Unique expertise in oil and gas worldwide. There are 1.5 million wells drilled in the USA. And there's about only 200,000 drilled in the rest of the world. So you can tell where is the most intense expertise on this planet. It is in the US. The world reserves, and I'm talking about NOCs versus world reserve. Do you know over 75% of the world reserve are controlled by NOCs, which is a national oil company? 75% of oil and gas reserves. Do you know there are 50 major companies, 28 of them are national oil company? And by the way, don't take notes. Pay attention, give me your business card, I'll email the presentation to you, okay? I'm the only one. Okay, this is very critical to know about the region. It's the regional tectonics. So basically, what we have, oops. What we're looking at here is basically the surface, the crust. We live on a moving layer called the crust. Below the crust, there is a metamorphic rocks, which is not liquid and not solid. So it's just like rubbery. Below that, there is the mantle, which is molten rocks. So basically, we don't feel it. We are moving about 2 inches a year, but we don't feel it. So over time, these plateaus from the south is pushing to the north. And the Arabian plate is pushing also to the north and northeast. And you have the Anatolia, which is Turkey, basically, is pushing westward and dipping toward Crete. So this motion, it is my opinion that it will cause deformation to the anticline or the structure in the East Mediterranean region, practically Cyprus and Lebanon. And an example of that, and this is not a proven theory, an example of that is, this is the Aphrodite 12 or Block 12 field offshore Cyprus. The reason they have a confusion, in my opinion, between initial 9 TCF reserve and down to 5 TCF is because they discovered that the field is partitioned into separate compartments. And in my opinion, this is due because of the vertical stress, which is sediment stress on the top of the anticline, and the movement of the plateau in the region, as we saw earlier. I'm going to go real quick. This is right off geology.com. This is very, very elementary. The reason I want to show this is because of the 4 geological time or era. العصور الجيولوجية الأربعة. Number 4 is Cenozoic, and all the way is to Mesozoic, and then go down to Paleozoic and Precambrian. This is not a spring. This is the actual layers, the planet. And this is, they say, is 4 billion years old, and up to 3 billion and 2 billion. Otherwise, 4 billion old, maybe if we had man, it would be living in this layers right here. This is a different seismic available to the industry. What we have today, what we've done in Lebanon is 2D and 3D seismic, which is imaging linear or streamed. A single to multi-azimuth. We're talking about the imaging of the anticline after we process the seismic. But we have other technology. In my opinion, is better, like the coil or circular seismic by Schlumberger's. And we have the ocean bottom sensor, OBS, by many companies in Europe and the USA. These are the best later on in Lebanon because we have so much 2D and 3D seismic, we can use the OBS to better define the anticline and the deeply seated faulting system. This is a sample of the streamer imaging and the OBS imaging. This is the anticline on this one, on the streamer. It shifted to the left. It's clear. And this one is a dry hole, and this one is producing. This is a quick about the economics. Why? This is a seismic map, but let me show you. These are the 4 wells, 1, 2, 3, and this is a Cyprus right here. It's 4 wells, and this section is from east to west. Cyprus alone, in 4 wells, they have discovered about 48 TCF, which is, in my I mean, about $500 billion. Only 4. This is right off British Petroleum database. The point I want to make here is 70% of the world reserve is controlled by 6 countries: Russia, Iran, Qatar, USA, Saudi Arabia, and Turkmenistan. And 6,600 TCF worldwide. And the reason I want to point this, we've done the in-house statistics, and we end up with this figure. This is consumption of gas versus production worldwide is almost equal. That means the production of gas is regulated. I mean, nobody told us that, but the numbers speak for itself. Otherwise, you have to kill somebody to replace his natural gas. If Lebanon is going to produce 1 or 2 TCF a year, then you really have to make a place for it. And this is the oil reserve. 68% of oil reserve is controlled by 6 countries. I mean, we are at the mercy of major companies, major producers. I'm going to run down why. I mean, this is too obvious. Look at the trend of production offshore Israel, all the way to the back, to Iran, to Syria, to Iraq. I mean, look at this. How could not be any oil in Lebanon? How could it be? I mean, it speaks for itself. This is the Norwegian model. Basics, very basics. Oil Ministry, Directory, or PA, Statoil is a national oil company. And this is our model. And the reason we designed this model is because it's more suitable to Lebanon's culture. Nobody will understand it outside of Lebanon. Nobody would even agree to it because they don't have sectarianism in outside of Lebanon. It's the only nation that we're still dealing with religion and different political parties. What we have here is very, oops. What we have here basically is Oil and Gas Ministry for governmental licensing, fiscal, sovereign fund. This is the Petroleum Administration, the Lebanese Armed Forces, and the National Oil Company. Without the Lebanese Armed Forces to provide security to international oil company, they would not come. Nobody would invest hundreds of millions of dollars in a country which is with stability that is questionable. You have to involve the Lebanese Armed Forces on this. The sovereign fund is too early. You need the mechanics for the industry like a national oil company, and yet some people are talking about sovereign fund to do it now, before the national oil company. How is it? I mean, how can you even think about money before it comes? Again, we are trying to skin the bear before we kill it. Real quick, the foist or the problems in the law. This is very important, and I'm not saying that all is bad, but there need to be some changes, and the major changes are 2 things. Number 1, that's to me, is to give less power to the Petroleum Administration. I mean, in every single page of the law, it said without. Upon the opinion, no, I respect the Petroleum Administration. Like I said, it came a long way since 3 years ago, but there needs some changes. But every single page of the law, it said, after obtaining the opinion of the Petroleum Administration on every single article. The last article of the law, it said that it is above all laws of the land. So this is a preliminary and incomplete law. It is. And how could it be above all laws in Lebanon of the land? I don't understand that. But otherwise, there is a need for changes and amending the petroleum law. That's my opinion. We could start with the royalty. We could start with the block delineation. We have to add a definition of the working interest, taxation on cost recovery, tax exemption, foreign representation in Lebanon, security measures, social program, and less power, of course, to the Petroleum Administration. It is our opinion that the blocks offshore, Lebanon is more deserving than 10 blocks for obvious reason. Aphrodite 12, the area of Aphrodite 12, Block 12, offshore Cyprus, is only 80 square kilometers. We have devised 15 blocks at 1,200 square kilometers each, equal. And we included the continental shelf. Just an opinion. We need a national oil company. It's a great thing to have, especially if we become a member of the Congress, National Oil Company Congress. It will give us a lot of exposures to Statoil, to Sonatrach. All national oil companies are members of this organization. And why not Lebanon? Deepwater exploration outlook. The price of oil is falling by 40%. It's from $100 just last year to $60. The West Texas crude is selling at open market at about 10% discount, or $54 a barrel. Natural gas, $2.75. In Europe is $8.5. Demand and supplies on the increase and no shortage of oil and gas supply in the foreseeable future. Demand is high. And there is no shortage because of the new technology, the horizontal drilling and the frac technology in the state. I mean, the Texas by itself is producing about $1.2 million from 2 fields extra a day. So unless a serious regional conflict of war, Middle East, nothing is going to change on pricing. Lower oil prices have greatly contributed to slow activity in deepwater exploration. What does it mean? It means we have more rigs available. It's not like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, you needed to be on the list, 2 years wait list to get a rig. Now, there are many rigs available for offshore drilling. Deepwater, bottom line, deepwater exploration, even though it is on a downswing, but it is for next 2 or 3 years, but it's going to stay with us. It's not going anywhere. And the Mediterranean Sea has been hunted. Otherwise, it's been looked after, chased by major company, specifically offshore Lebanon. And basically today, I mean now, the present time is really good time to drill offshore and to benefit from low cost of drilling and reach higher natural prices in 3 years by 2018. Okay, this is about almost over. This is one of the last slides. We promise you, and this is my promise to Lebanon, and especially the student of oil and gas, we could establish and co-govern a vibrant national oil company that is independent and non-political. It is very critical to be independent and non-political, like the army, like the central bank. Lebanon, oil and gas, in my opinion, is for all Lebanese. And it is my opinion that the NOC with expert leading as a skipper, as the management team, is the most viable venue to start or to put the oil industry on track in Lebanon. We need to qualify the NOC technically, financially, and technically to operate and drill offshore within 3 years. Within 2 years, we promise you we have a budget of $30 million. I repeat, we have a budget of $30 million. We will, in 2 years from establishing a national oil company, to hire 100 student graduate. I'm receiving resume after resume, looking for student graduate, looking for job. I mean, in the present government, all these students are graduating from AUB and USG and all universities in oil and gas. Who's going to hire these people? Who's going to hire the student? The National Oil Company is the only venue to do it. The government is not going to do it. The PA is not going to do it. The ministry is not going to do it. So we have the way to establish the NOC, raise the money, and hire 100 students within 2 years. And we promise you to discover commercially viable quantity of natural gas offshore by year 2018. I'm hearing 8 years and 5 years. Granted, it's your opinion, I respect that. But by 2018, we promise you we can do it. And the licensing ground is not the only way. I mean, we are stuck to the licensing ground. People, there are other ways to, to explore for oil and gas. There are many service contracts. There is joint venture contracts. It doesn't have to be concession or licensing ground. We promise you, if we were members, happen to be to help the NOC, to adopt a policy so many Lebanese could participate or to benefit from the NOC in one way or another. To rally international support so we can explore oil and gas without problems with our neighbors. I mean, to work with passion and integrity for the best interests of Lebanon. Then the individual, we are, like I said, we're all in the business of making money, but let's put Lebanon first, please. And to bring God's blessing closer to Lebanon and to hope to unite the country rather than the curse of the status quo of division and despair. However, this noble and patriotic objective to be a reality, we need to understand that Lebanon institutional capacity is healthy and to work with an industry model that is suitable for Lebanon. Don't let a foreign country tell you and its agents, namely Mr. Farouk Qasimi, he literally brainwashed the Parliament of Lebanon, telling them that Lebanon is not ready for a model with a three entity, which is the ministry and the National Oil Company and the PA. He literally told them that the institutional capacity of Lebanon is weak, and therefore they need one model, one entity. And in my opinion, this entity is going to be, so far, looking like the PA, which is great if they qualified to maybe make the jump and be the National Oil Company. This is wrong. This is very wrong. We have a healthy institution capacity. This is despite the problem we have. We can overcome the problem if we make some changes. And by the way, to make changes to the law, it takes 30 to 60 days. Just an urgent session at the Parliament, and the minor changes will be done. And the minor changes is really simple, as we saw. Number two, to support all political parties. I mean, we need the support of all political parties in Lebanon to stop wasting time and to establish the NOC before the end of this year. Like I said, we need 30 to 60 days to do it. No more than that. And for the Petroleum Administration to preserve and clinch its regulatory duties and be patient. The National Oil Company cannot do a flip without the LPA. We can't do anything. We have to team up. You cannot take the duties and the work of the National Oil Company, and the National Oil Company cannot assume your duties as well. We need to form a National Oil Company yesterday, please. And last but not least, the necessary funds. We need the initial capitalization that can easily be raised, and we can do that. Like I said, we have $30 million if you are successful of forming a National Oil Company, and I thank you very much. By the way, student, if any time at the end of today, we have some gift for you, and we have a real crude to smell it, feel it, touch it. And I got it myself from an oil well in West Texas. Thank you very much.
So, okay.